of our registrants, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and get things started. So good morning and or good afternoon to everybody. I wanted to welcome all of you to the PacRes and our affiliate employee conference call with Carty, including our referral partners and friends to the call. We are joined today again by Carty, a 25-year-old Gen Z guru. Allie has felt inspired through her career with Active Comply to bring to light the power of social media and how to connect with prospective Gen Z homebuyers in her life. Passionate about empowering Gen Z individuals to make informed decisions when it comes to purchasing their first homes, Allie brings a fresh perspective to the real estate industry by encouraging real estate professionals to digitally brand themselves. By sharing her expertise in social media, video content, and algorithm advice, Allie's goal is to better help the mortgage industry and real estate industry connect and serve next generation borrowers like herself. I will let all of you know, however, that this goes well beyond Gen Z. And what Allie brings in sharing with us over the next 30 minutes applies to everyone who owns a cell phone or a computer, which I think is all of us on the call. We will be monitoring the chat box, and anything that we don't get to in her time with us, we are trying to leave a few minutes for Q&A. We will get back to everybody via email. So with that, Allie, welcome to the call, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dave. I'm so excited to be back with the PacRes team. Thank you for the awesome intro. I think that you were spot on by saying that hopefully today everyone will leave with actionable takeaways regardless of age range or groups. Can you confirm before you go on mute that you can see my screen?
Good to go.
Sweet. All right, so I have my screen here. I have y'all over here. Any questions? Hopefully I should be able to see and address. So feel free to type in the chat box, come off mute. Trying to make it a high energy call. We got 30 minutes. Like I said, really my goal within the next 30 minutes is for everyone to leave with some actionable takeaways and hopefully ways that you can really get engaged across social media to not just connect with that first-time home buyer, but also remind people in your network what you do, why you do it, and hopefully increase business. So the agenda for today, I'm going to walk through really some next-gen borrower statistics, some interviews, firsthand surveys that I've done with people in my life and individuals that fall between the ages of 20 and 29. I'm going to walk through social media, digital branding, different ways to be showing up where you want to show up across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'll walk through some common obstacles that not just loan officers, but referral partners may be facing across social media. I know I've dealt with them. And I'll even do a couple shout outs towards the end of people that might be crushing it on social media and why I've engaged with their content and why other Gen Z or first time home buyers may be attracted to follow and engage with that type of content. And again, last call was a little bit short. I'm going to try to leave some room for Q&A at the end. But any questions, feel free to just pop in the chat box. I will try to address them as we go. So I am 25 and I entered the industry in the summer of 2022. When I entered, I was realizing the market was taking a bit of a shift and the room that I was a part of and getting to learn about the mortgage and the real estate finance world, it was getting to be a more challenging market. But there were still people in my age group that were posting about buying homes, or they had no idea what to even expect out of the home buying process. So I realized, there was opportunity with that first-time home buyer. And as I started conversations, that Gen Z home buyer was often looked at as a 12, 13-year-old, niece or nephew versus a 19, 20-year-old individual who's looking at their financial future and starting to have conversations about post-grad or getting into a university and ways that they will be dealing with student loans. So that Gen Z homebuyer or Gen Z individual in 2023, 58% of them were 18 years or older. That was a year ago. I assume it is a higher statistic now. And as you look at the Gen Z and millennials compared to Gen X and baby boomers and seniors, we are slowly starting to become that target audience for first-time homebuyers. So my goal is to really help this room and this audience today reach that demographic and engage with them, be creating content that will start provoking thoughts around home buying process. So as I mentioned, in June of 2022, I realized the market was getting a little challenging. but there was still opportunity out there. So I took some time to interview and send out surveys to people in my age group that had agreed to help me with a work project. And so I sent out over 8 weeks surveys to people between the ages of 20 and 29. The respondents mainly were in Florida, Tennessee, California, Texas, New York. They were nationwide, and it was between 150 to 200 respondents each week. But my goal with this survey was to really get firsthand data and quotes, genuine conversations started about what the people in my life and in my age group were thinking about buying a home. So we started off the first week, I was like, listen, do you rent, do you own, or do you live with your parents? Because COVID really created an environment where people in my age group could easily move home because we were in a time of crisis. Everyone was uniting with their family, not sure what to do. And so those individuals who eventually either moved home from college or had just left the nest were slowly coming back, and they had a place to call home and essentially live rent free. Fast forward 4 years later, a lot of those people still are living in those what were going to be empty nesters, but now they have moved back home and that nest is still occupied. So 21% we're still living with parents. If you leave with nothing else today, I hope that that 6%, that low statistic, there's 94% of surveyed individuals that were not in the game yet. So a lot of opportunity out there with that first-time home buyer. From there, I said, okay, you don't own a home. Do you intend on buying a home? And 72% said it's within the 5-year plan. 25% said it's in the 10-year plan. 3% said in the 10+ year plan. But another really optimistic statistic, 0% said no. And I was like, okay, awesome. You don't own a home. You would like to buy a home. What's the biggest obstacle or the most intimidating factor? And 45% said where to start in the education process. This was over saving for a down payment, qualifying, and other. And to me, as I was in this industry full of real estate finance experts that were really wanting to get to know that first-time home buyer, connect with them, educate, I was like, oh my gosh, if this is the biggest obstacle, we are happy to help and become that liaison between that first-time home buyer and getting in the real estate game. So I was like, all right, where are you getting your news updates, educational content? And 71% said social media. 10% said TV, 8% said podcast, 11% said other. I will say I had some people message me after I sent out the survey and they were like, I subscribe to newsletters. So if there's any people on the call that do newsletters, make sure to be sharing those with the Gen Z and millennials in your network, sharing it on your Instagram story, making sure that if there's other ways that you're getting education out there, notifying your network, because newsletters were a big thing of that 11%. But at the end of the day, social media was 71% go-to. I can attest to this. If there's any headlines, if my parents text me about anything going on in the world, I immediately open up Instagram, look, what's trending, what's on my For You page, what's most important to me right now. And I would say that that's pretty resounding across all of the people that I surveyed as well. So from there, I was like, okay, which social media are you using the most? And this is the keyword here is most. I will say every individual that I surveyed probably had all 4 of these platforms, but what are they checking on probably an hourly basis? I know I check my Instagram on an hourly basis, my TikTok at least 4 or 5 times a day. And so 69% said Instagram was their go-to platform, 31% said TikTok, 0 said Twitter, and 0 said Facebook. And so as you're looking at engaging with those individuals between the ages of 20 and 29, if you are only posting on Facebook or X, Twitter, whatever is called right now, you could be missing out on a huge population and reaching them when they're looking it up continuously. But as Dave mentioned, at the end of the day, investing in social media is not just a Gen Z thing. It's slowly becoming our population as a whole. I know that as I talk to my parents or some of the people at my work that are not Gen Z, they use social media to confirm referrals and reviews and make sure that someone's out there doing business and has success stories. And 80% of every generation is using social media at least once per day. So at the end of the day, if you are like, I don't care about Gen Z or millennials, there's still opportunity across social media for you. All right, Allie, I want to be on social media. I need to be there. I want to reach that first-time home buyer. What platform should I be prioritizing? So I would say look at your audience. If you really want to work with that first-time home buyer, maybe you should be on that short form video content. If your network is mainly on Facebook and a lot of your references and people you engage with is on Facebook, that's great too. But if you are looking at your digital brand and where you want to be purposeful in the next few months across social media, take a look at where your audience is and make sure you're meeting them where they are. So Gen Z is really using YouTube, Instagram, TikTok 2 to 3 times a day. And this is, the word daily is key here, because I will say the average is about 4 hours a day on these platforms. But versus when you look at millennials and Gen X, they're going across 5 to 6 platforms weekly. So social media with that Gen Z age group, it's going to be daily. You have to be showing up consistently. They are going to be opening their phone at lunch, going on their phone after dinner. It's a routine habit that I think a lot of people in my age group have become accustomed to, versus millennials and Gen X kind of spread the love across social media. And maybe not as often are they picking up their phone to check what's going on their Instagram stories or Facebook Live. So I would say millennials, Gen X, again, across these platforms, Gen Z, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And at the end of the day, like I said, if Facebook is your baby and you have built a brand there and you want to lean in on Facebook, that's never going to be a waste of your time. I will say only 36% of the individuals in my age group use Facebook weekly. And I will say I do not use Facebook as I need to for what I do at work. It's like the one that's hard for me to adapt to. But 87% of millennials use Facebook weekly, 90% of Gen X use Facebook weekly. And this was crazy to me, 96% of baby boomers use Facebook weekly. So at the end of the day, again, if you are stuck on Facebook and that's where you feel most comfortable, start out there and then maybe over time start repurposing content and spreading it across Instagram. They're both owned by the same company, so hopefully that would be easy, but Facebook's not going to be a waste of time either way. All right, Allie, I know where I got to be. What should I be posting though? And this is something that I get asked a lot. And I think my biggest advice would be after the call today, if you are like, I got to be on social media, that's where I'm meeting future home buyers. Absolutely. But take some time this afternoon or tonight after you're decompressing on the couch, scroll through your social media. What's the content that gains your attraction? What are you engaging with, liking, sending to your friends? That's essentially some inspiration for what you should be repurposing as a trusted home buying professional. And one of the biggest questions I get is, oh, how do I mix personal versus professional? I would say if you have 2 accounts, that's fine. Professional needs to be on, especially for individuals that are licensed and doing business. You need to have a professional account. But if you want to stick with 2 different accounts, make sure whatever you're posting on your professional account, you're sharing across your personal. So if you're posting something on your professional Facebook page, go on your personal and share it to your story. Same for Instagram. If you have 2 separate accounts, make sure you're utilizing your personal network, reminding them what you do. I feel like as I talk to my mom, who's been in the mortgage business forever, she says that one of the biggest obstacles is, hey, when someone that I thought would go with me doesn't, that's so frustrating. And I think as I was talking to her, my mind goes to, well, do they remember what you do? Because so often people would use a certain individual for home buying purposes and reach out to them with questions, but they forget that that's their occupation. And so social media is a great way to be reminding your personal network what you do, why you do it, and how you can help them in the process. Otherwise, they may forget that's what you do. So anyways, yes, mix of personal and professional, utilizing both networks and really branding yourself as a trusted advisor when it comes to buying a home. And then educational content will always win. That's really what gains a lot of traction when people are searching home buying on TikTok, Instagram. Facebook, they're going to come up with a lot of questions, and having educational resources is a big win. Some ideas would be breaking down acronyms, what does it mean to have an FHA loan? Specific questions maybe individuals have gotten as they've worked with first-time home buyers, and creating a video saying, hey, if this sounds like you, reach out to me, we can dive into more details, or even breaking it down in the video. And then tips to prepare. I think not just loan officers, but also partners can be utilizing tips to share with their network and educate them on ways to be preparing themselves to get in the real estate game. At the end of the day, high performing content is usually going to be that short form video. The biggest algorithm and the way that you're going to find success across social media is going to be measured on the amount of time that viewers spend on your profile or on your video. So if you post a 17-second video, the longer that individual watches it, the higher performing all of your content is going to be moving forward. So that's going to feed the algorithm. This person's posting content that is tractionable and engaging within the first few seconds. So I want to push them to the top of the feed. And at the end of the day, short form video, the average attention span of an adult as of 2024 is 47 seconds. And I would argue that it's probably shorter across social media with the accessibility of information just scrolling. So really reaching that viewer and impacting them within the first 3, 4, 5 seconds of whatever content you're publishing is going to be pivotal, making sure it's high energy, you're excited to be there, and they know what to expect within the duration of the video. When it comes to Instagram, Reels will generate 2 times more reach than any other content. If you're asking what a Reel is, all video format is going to be published as a Reel. It will show up on a For You page if it's 90 seconds or less. A For You page is here on the right, and it's where the magnifying glass is at the bottom of your Instagram profile. Once you click on that, it'll bring you to your designated For You page. This is going to be content that's catered to what you're looking up across all social media, what you're Googling, as scary as it sounds, what you're talking about. So the way that your phone is digesting things that you're researching or talking about, slowly your For You page will reflect those things. So if there's individuals talking about buying a home, Googling interest rates, Googling different things, slowly, if you're posting about related content, you're going to start showing up on their For You page. And so you can see on the right, this is my For You page this morning. And the reason that Reels are going to generate more traction than just images is because when you look at this on my right, there's what, seven different things on my For You page, and there's probably 6 just images. So 7 Reels, 6 images. The algorithms are pushing Reels right now. And so there's a lot less users creating Reels. If you're one of them, your content is slowly going to start showing up where it needs to be showing up. So I have a lot of loan officers or individuals in the real estate world that come up to me and they're like, I don't have any Gen Z in my network. How am I going to reach them? They don't follow me. You're going to reach them by posting content that is top of mind, that is captioned with the word mortgage, has hashtags, has these different texts that is going to really resonate and reach the individuals that are researching that. And so the For You page algorithm across Instagram and TikTok is really going to be our best friend as we start branding ourselves as trusted advisors when it comes to buying a home. And if you're curious where you can find Reels, or if you follow certain people that you think do great Reels, on the left, you can see that little, I don't even know what that's called. It's like a movie reel. But that's going to be on every profile of individuals that create Reels. So that is going to be where it would show up on your profile and anyone else that you follow. But main message to hone in on here, if you're not creating Reels, you could be missing out on showing up where you need to be showing up. When it comes to TikTok, the videos with the most engagement, as we look at the past few years, I want to note their algorithm changes consistently, but the most engagement is seen on videos between 9 and 15 seconds. Does that mean that you have to be posting dancing videos? Absolutely not. But I think it's really important that if you are going to be reaching and gaining the attention of that viewer, you establish what you're going to cover within the first 9 to 15 seconds. And I would advise having some type of text that talks about what to expect in the video. So as it shows up on your profile, as individuals go to your profile, they can see what to expect out of different content. Again, the first 3 seconds is super pivotal when it comes to finding success across a platform like TikTok. The attention span is so short and the ability to scroll is so encouraged. So really capturing their attention within the first 3 to 4 seconds is huge. And again, the caption title block, that's a great way to avoid being super wordy for different topics across our industry. Facebook Reels right now are performing better than any other content. And that's because as you go through your Facebook feed, you'll see that there's a designated section for just Reels. And it's going to be movement engaged. It'll help you listen to audio. So it'll automatically start playing audio. And there's different ways that Facebook is pushing Reels to where they can compete with platforms like Instagram and TikTok. So Reels also perform really well on Facebook. If you're creating them on one, you might as well post them on both of your profiles, Instagram and Facebook. And then user-generated content outperforms targeted ads. Especially as I've talked with Gen Z individuals across social media, it's really easy to decipher between genuine content and something that is targeted and is being pushed on you. The genuine content is always going to outperform, at least with the Gen Z individuals that I've spoke with and surveyed. And so as we are looking at romanticizing the home buying process and helping get first-time home buyers into a home, these are examples of engaging content that I've been sent from my friends. So on the left, you'll see Instagram, Facebook stories with surveys. This is a great way to remind your network what you do without trying to essentially hard sell them across social media. This gets viewers thinking about, oh my gosh, I love that kitchen. I want to be manifesting buying a home this year. Different ways to be romanticizing the physical aspects of the home buying process is a huge one. And Facebook and Instagram surveys are a great way to be engaging with people that may not essentially be ready to get in the game yet, but need a reminder that that's what you do. In the middle, sharing success stories. Always get consent from your buyer first. But this is a great way to be allowing your success or your first-time home buyer, the people who just found success by working with you, they're going to share that with their network. That's an automatic referral. I was speaking to my best friend a couple days ago, and I was like, hey, if I wasn't in the real estate or the mortgage world, who would you turn to when you wanted to buy a home? And she was like, oh, one of my good friends from high school just posted that he bought a home out in Murfreesboro here in Tennessee. I'd probably just reach out to him and see who he worked with. And that was all because he shared on his Instagram story that he just bought a home, and he posted all these pictures of his new house and the people he worked with. And so that's a great way to have direct referrals that you may not even think about. And then on the right, romanticizing the home, showcasing walkthroughs, working with partners to really increase the reach and views for different home properties. Because at the end of the day, I think, especially the referral partners on this call, if you are a realtor, you have a great opportunity to be romanticizing the home buying process versus some mortgage experts or individuals. They are a lot more numbers based, a lot less tangible of content. And so romanticizing the homes, showcasing them, the floor plans, different parts of the homes, I think that that's great and thought-provoking for anyone viewing content across social media. I think the biggest miss for individuals that are trying to digitally brand themselves is they commit to posting 3 times a week and that's it. It's a total mind shift if you are going to embrace digitally branding yourself. It's not just posting at 10 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, an image or a video that was recorded 3 months ago. It's being present with your audience, engaging with them, liking their Instagram stories. If you see something that reminds you, maybe it's a lead that's gone cold and you haven't heard from them in a while. If you saw an Instagram post that related to something that you guys had talked about, you could indirectly DM the post to them and say, hey, I saw this and thought of you. Would love to hop on a call soon to discuss further. It's a great way to be engaging and slowly reminding them of conversations that may have, again, gone cold. And here's different ways to be engaging with Gen Z across social media. Again, Instagram story engagement on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, liking stories. If they post a survey, engaging with anything. In the middle, you'll see first-time homebuyers, asking them if you can, again, post a success story post and tag them. I will say no Gen Z will pass up on an opportunity to highlight something that they've done, especially something like buying a home. So if you post with them, chances are they're going to share that with their network because they do want to pat themselves on the back a little bit. And then on the right, direct messaging. Again, here's an example. Hi, I know you're contemplating a move to Nashville. Thought I'd share this with you. Little reminders of conversations that y'all have had and ways to be re-engaging with them without being like, hey, why'd you ghost me? Oh man, I know we have 4 minutes. I feel like I always too excited about this. Here's different software for anyone that's looking to get in the video content game. On the left is iMovie, on the right is CapCut. These are 2 free softwares that I use when it comes to creating video content. They do automatic captions, and YouTube has great tutorial walkthroughs for both of these platforms. Here are 3 different resources that I use to create content, all under, I think it's $35 now. I can send a follow-up with all these different links. But again, if you're one of those people that mentally has to make a commitment to something by purchasing or investing in equipment for it, these are 3 different things, all under 35 bucks, and great resources when it comes to creating content. I will highlight one of them real quick, is this little thing that goes on the back of your phone. It's great if you want to create content and don't want to incorporate anyone else. You put it on the back of your phone like this, and then you can put it up against your car window if you want to, in your parked car. If you want to talk to yourself in your car for a while, it really alleviates having to have anyone else there present to help you record content. You can put it on a mirror in your house and you can create content that way. It alleviates really that stress of someone else having to be present when you are recording content, and it's $5 on Amazon. So worst case, you give it a shot. And then again, that mental obstacle is the biggest struggle I hear real estate finance individuals struggling with across social media. Writing a script, keeping it 90 seconds or less. And again, not focusing on engagement. I can't tell you the amount of times I've entered a room with mortgage individuals and they recognize me from LinkedIn, and I know who they are. And I know they've never liked any of my content. They've never messaged me, never shared any of my content. But they're like, hey, you're that girl on LinkedIn. And I am always like, yeah. And then I leave and I'm like, they don't ever engage with my content. So individuals that get discouraged when they look at their engagement, chances are you're reaching the right audience. They just may not be engaging with it as much as you'd like. All right. And I have 3 shout outs. I'll have to share those for another time. I want to go ahead and open it up for any questions. I know we have about 2 minutes left. This is my contact information. Any direct questions, feel free to reach out to me. Something I'm really passionate about, and I would love to open it up for questions. I see there's some chats in the chat box. I can check that out real quick. Let's see. Thank you, Eric. Let's see. Do you have good advice on number of hashtags? Yes, this is something that I was recently asked and I've done a lot of research on. Not over hashtagging, especially on Facebook and Instagram. 4 is what I would cap it out at, making sure they're broad enough. So for instance, if I'm doing a video on first-time homebuyers, hashtag first-time homebuyer, hashtag mortgage, hashtag real estate, and then maybe like hashtag mortgage marketing, something that's very general that will reach the audience and slowly start showing up, but don't make it like first-time homebuyers in Syracuse or just like random cities. If you are out in your community, hashtagging where you're at and also maybe tagging local businesses, but I would cap it out at 4 hashtags. All right, I think that's all the questions. If anyone
Hey,
has
Ali,
any verbal questions and wants to come off mute, happy to answer it that way too.
I got a question for you, and I'm probably speaking for a lot of people on the call. But I think the hardest part for a lot of people is starting. Where do I start? Right. I mean, obviously you're an expert. Your generation is certainly, grew up with phones in their hands like, my kids did. But for us, a little bit older generation, how do you suggest we start to have a more immediate impact on social media?
Absolutely. I've shared this in past, presentations. I'm the type of person that once I commit to something, I need to make an investment. So if you're similar, maybe investing in this thing for the back of your phone or just making the mental note that this is something I'm committing to, I would say that first. Because the biggest, I guess, ick or a turn off for consumers across social media is individuals that post three things and then never touch their social media profile again. So if you're going to post, make a commitment 6 to 7 months and then really embracing that. Because at the end of the day, after 7 months, if you still don't want to do it, at least there's enough content out there that if people look you up, you have success stories, you've posted informational videos. But my first call to action for anyone wanting to leave today and post, hey, this is me, this is what I'm going to be doing, this is what to expect out of my profile. I would just hop on video, 90 seconds. Hey, my name's Carty. I'm really passionate about helping first-time homebuyers in the Nashville area get in the home buying game. Over the next few weeks, my goal is to post a video once every week, highlight different, and just kind of set intentions for what your audience can expect. That way they're not gonna all of a sudden be like, whoa, my cousin Allie, all of a sudden she's posting all these videos and I didn't know she was gonna be doing that. And so they can go back on your profile, see you setting intentions, why you're doing it, and hopefully help share your content.
And how about you touched on a little bit, but how about the importance of the engagement beyond just creating your own original content, but who you're following, who you're liking, who you're reposting, all of those kinds of things, and what that can do for your individual profile and following.
Oh, it's huge. One of the people that I highlighted, I don't know if he's on the call today, but he was working with a local, influencer. I think it was like Money Mindset. It was like an Instagram account where you can work with people directly. And then once they share it on their network, he can also share it on his network. And so it's reaching two different profiles, different audiences. But I think, especially with this call today, if you do have referral partners, working with them and sharing the love, and if you repurpose their content and vice versa, that's automatically probably another 200-300 views that you wouldn't have got if you hadn't been engaging with them, liking their content, tagging them. Also, if you're going out to a local donut shop or somewhere in your community, post a story of, oh my gosh, just had the most amazing coffee at this little coffee shop. If you're in the Nashville area, check it out. They're going to most likely repost that to their story. And then all of their followers are going to see your content, click on your profile, see that you're in the mortgage or real estate world, and know, oh, maybe I should follow him if they're looking to buy a home. I hope that answers your question. It kind of went on a tangent.
No, it did for sure. Thanks, Ali. And there was a couple questions too about this being a half an hour long. And yes, the first one was a half an hour. We didn't want to be too overwhelming, seeing as the average time spent is 47 seconds and 1.5 hours. But we hope this is the first of many with you, Ali, and that you'll come back and join us and get to the next level with social media.
Absolutely.
I know we're a couple minutes over. Does anybody else have any questions, either in chat or wants to come off mute?
Feel free to message me across social media too with any direct questions. Marianne, I think you might have come off mute. Sorry.
That's okay. I was just wondering, in any of your surveys or research that you've done, has LinkedIn come in anywhere?
Yeah. So this is funny because I think, especially with this call today, leaning on partners, LinkedIn is a good resource to be up to date on what they're doing. But when reaching that even second time home buyer, I don't think that people are going to LinkedIn to type in how to buy a home. And so it may be required when looking at experience. So like chances are, if you look up my name, you'll see my LinkedIn. And as consumers look at me, maybe as a mortgage loan originator, they're like, oh, let me make sure she has a good LinkedIn, make sure she's been in the job for a while. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be their main resource for education. And that's probably not how you're going to show up on their profile.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, great question. All right.
Awesome, Allie. Well, so appreciate you being here. Everybody that joined, thank you so much for jumping on. We will, again, follow up with a couple things. Number one is the presentation from today. We'll make sure immediately after this call, we just send out a quick email to everybody that registered with just Allie's contact information. And then again, we'll follow up with the presentation once we get it edited, as well as in the conversation, you saw that we did a couple of internal versions on how to create reels and be more successful on social media. And we can make those available to the group as well. And we'll send those out after the call.
Awesome.
Allie.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks
Thank
everybody for
you.
joining. Have a good day, everybody.